I am in Lapeer, Michigan. And this store, it's Record Daze. It's been open for 3 years. I used to come to Lapeer quite a bit for work, and they never had a record store. But, you know, record stores are popping up everywhere. And so I just going through town, and there it was. So come on in. We'll take a look at this place and see what you might find in Record Daze.
We want our fresh produce to meet your expectations, which is why this dedicated student up to a 27-point inspection on our fruits and veggies, checking for things like safari. In fact, only the best produce and zesty oranges and crisp carrots reach our shelves. Because when it comes to fresh, our higher standards mean fresher produce. Kroger, fresh, everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the buy five or more, save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more sophisticated drinks and save $1 each with your car. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
At Trinity Health Michigan, we see the person behind the patient. Not just their symptoms, but a person with hopes, smiles, and a life we're here to be used to. We have the expert medical teams and technology of a national health system, and we offer personalized care that treats all of you. Learn more at trinityhealthmichigan.org. Trinity Health, we treat all of you.
I'm in Grayling, Michigan. I'm actually outside of Vinyl Records. Yeah, called Vinyl Records. Well, that's pretty easy to do. Grayling's kind of a cool looking town, you can see. It's in kind of on your way up to northern Michigan, halfway in between, maybe an hour and a half from where I live. So I was coming down here, I was coming from, I was on my way home from work. I thought, I need to find out what's going on here and take a look at this place. It's a smaller shop, and here we go. And so it is Tuesday, and it's closed. It's closed. I guess those hours don't quite work at times, but that's what happens when you're in a smaller town. Things happen, and it was like, I'm sure he felt, well, I'm going to miss out on a whole bunch of stuff. So real big disappointment. So this week's tour of a record store just got squashed. Try again some other time. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the midweek. Started with a record store tour. Now, I think I started with the record store tour because I haven't gone to that record store yet. I'm heading out for work. You know, I'll be gone a couple days. And I know a record store I want to go to. Now it just has to be open. I have to be able to do it. So we're just going to say, I hope you like the record store tour. And if not, oh well, I guess I didn't make that one happen. But now I have some more albums that I used to have that I've brought back into my collection. The ongoing saga. It is the 3-year anniversary of the flood now. So the news channels, you know, just explode up here with all the footage and everything from the flood. And, you know, currently we are working on finally refinishing our basement and getting that done. You know, the last vestiges of this flood, wipe it away so we can't see it, and spend a lot of money that I could have spent on records, but now I can't because I got to do that. But yeah, so almost mid-May's a big time. It's flood celebration time, right? But we should probably have a special parade or something like that too, just to say I survived the flood. But I have some more albums that I have brought back into my collection. Some of them have been sitting here for a while. I just got to get around to showing them, you know. It isn't like I don't do videos, because I do. I got albums to show. So the very first one, and this one I really was excited to get back in. I couldn't get an original. The Cure's Disintegration. This came out in 1989. There's my original vinyl. Man, I wish I had the cover for that one. still. You know, not the cheapest album in the world. I love this one. Now, I was already buying Cure. I remember my very first Cure album was Kiss Me, Kiss Me. And then I began, you know, buying some of the back catalog because it was fairly inexpensive. In '89, this one comes out. And this was toward the tail end of when I could get albums. You know, things were drying up. Columbia House was getting ready to pull the plug on album sales on their, you know, the record club. Where I lived, you weren't finding any more albums out in, we were moving over, you know, to a smaller town in Minnesota where I was opening a store. So things were changing. And, you know, I was forced into CDs, but I was already buying the format. I just didn't have a CD player. So this album, this is a 2010 reissue. It's a 2-album set. There's the inner sleeves. This was such a good album. I mean, this really, to me, was when The Cure became big. This is when they made an album that everyone seemed to like. I mean, you just Disintegration is on here. You have, you know, Pictures of You, huge love song. Fascination Street, Lullaby. It was just good song after good song after good song. Really no filler. It was just such a solid album. And it was one that, obviously I saved the vinyl, so I really wanted to get back in. I had a pretty good Cure collection. But, you know, now, man, it's hard to get them. Very expensive to buy. Unless you want to buy a picture disc for on Record Store Day, then it's pretty easy. Lots of Cure picture discs. So this was big. Very happy to get that in. So it is my official cover for my original. I don't know when you sell them. You know, that's also the thing. So eventually, you know, I will have to sell. It just... You say, well, I got a record cover that was a reissue, but you got the original vinyl. I don't know what, you know, well, some would be excited. You get 2 albums in here, plus you're going to get an original. Who knows? Now, this next one I just brought in. Actually, last week. No, it's this week, Sunday. Yellow Magic Orchestra. In Japan. This one came out in '79, I believe, and this is on the special yellow vinyl. So again, an album I have. It's part of that Octave collection from that DJ that, you know, by Jim at Radio Wasteland, you know, was able to buy a bunch of those records. And I remember having this. I bought it. It was in a bargain bin way back when, and I really, you know, I liked it. And so all of a sudden it came up, and this is beautiful, pristine copy. If it hadn't been written, this thing's gorgeous. So I thought, oh man, I need to bring that back in. I put it on, and you know, it just hasn't aged well. It has that class, you know. We're going kind of the Kraftwerk route with the synthesizers and everything. Though they do use drums and percussion, there are some vocals, but for the most part, it's electronics. And they use a lot of classical. They toss a lot of classical into this, along with other things. And it was okay. It didn't jump, you know, it just didn't knock my socks off. It didn't bring back memories of, whoa, this thing was so good. It was like, oh, well, all right, it's okay. So, yeah, it's okay. It is cool to get that yellow vinyl though. So I also, though, Jim had this album. Jim had the album. The album. By Pill, Public Image Limited. Now this had the hit Rise. This came out in 1986, which I'm working on a thing from 1986 right now. Obviously Johnny Lydon's band. This was an interesting album just for the fact that they brought in all kinds of different people to work on it. Ginger Baker plays drums on this. I mean, that's just gutsy just to bring Ginger Baker in and hope the place doesn't burn down or someone gets beat up or something. From here, Oh, come on. Let me get this. Sakamoto, who plays on this, plays on this. And let's see, who was the guitarist? Steve Vai, I think, played guitars on here. It was just this plethora of different people. It wasn't his usual band. He was just bringing in folks, and they were just kind of a weird cast of characters. I mean, not like they had anything really in common playing on this. But the album is pretty good album. So if you want a pretty good album by Public Image, buy the album, and you'll have a good album. Yeah, I mean, now if you bought the cassette, it's called cassette. I think CD called CD, possibly. So yeah, I was happy to get this one in. The big hit Rise is on there, and I really like Rise. Here was really, this was exciting to bring back. The Gap Band, because it has, you dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me. Hey. That's a great song. And there's Early in the Morning. Do I need any other Gap Band? I just need You Drop the Bomb on Me. Great 80s funk. Now there's some other, they did some other good stuff. There's, they have more than just that, but I love that song. And also, they wore cowboy hats. So you got funk and cowboy hats. This really had it going on, but that's one of those songs that I love to crank up. The rest of the album's pretty good. So I didn't buy it just for one song. The rest of the album's pretty good. But let's face it, you dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me. That's pretty dang awesome. So, the Gap Band. And it's Gap Band 4. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. And here is an album I had not been able to find. And it should be so common. It should be so easy to find. It used to be. Donnie Iris is back on the streets. My God, I've been looking for this thing and haven't been able to find it. I find Donnie Iris is King Cool everywhere. This has, of course, Ali. And this came out in 79. 1980s when this came out. My little brother bought this. I go, God, what's with this guy? First off, he is wearing a lemon suit. You got to give a guy credit for a lemon suit. And then he gets down to his, and he does have whitey tighties. But I got, when I was with Michael Christensen, I found this at Dearborn Records. And it's like, wow, they want $6 for it. And I love this song. I've loved this album. Now, Aliyah is just a wonderful, wonderful song. But the rest of this album is actually very good. And, it's just such a great rocking album. I wish it had the original inner sleeve. It doesn't, unless there was no original inner sleeve. It's just white, but I doubt that. I do miss getting those. But yeah, it's been something I've been trying to find, and just not seeing it. Where it's on Discogs, but by the time you pay for the shipping, because it's not an expensive album, you doubled the price of it, and it wasn't worth it. So, ta-da! There it was. I was extremely happy, and it has been cranked up on my stereo. It must have went streaking. He left his shoes and glasses there. So, a lemon suit, though. Let's just, rock and roll, baby. The other one, and I've been looking for this and haven't been able to find this. Super common. And when it came out, I really, it was okay, but Born in the USA. I thought, I really should get that one back in. I got tired of this one. When this came out, it was just too much. It was just it was just everywhere. Born in the USA, I'm on Fire, Glory Days, Dancing in the Dark. Let's face it, it made him into a superstar. He already was huge, but this threw him into the stratosphere. And, it was his solo album. So, very interesting. Look how young he is. And he's out doing that. Isn't this his last tour now? I think this was. It does not have E Street Band, though there is the E Street Band. But I'm pretty sure, but it just says Bruce Springsteen. So this was, again, one I'm not finding out there anymore, which is really odd. Now, this was kind of neat here. Hold on. One of these inside, well, we have the lyric sheet. There is a 45 of Dancing in the Dark and Pink Cadillac. If you hear something in the background on the TV set downstairs, the warning things going on, they're testing the emergency broadcast. And then there was a letter, and it says Pink Cadillac. And well, maybe I'm foolish, maybe foolish thing. They wrote the lyrics to Pink Cadillac. I don't know. You know, I'm sure there was a great reason why, but there it is. They so you know, these are just the artifacts that you go, huh? Okay, I'll buy that. I mean, that's fine, cool. I'm going to start maybe putting notes in my albums, so future generations will go, what's up with that? Maybe make them really obscure. Everyone should do that. Think about that. Start putting stuff in your albums, because eventually you're going to have to sell it because you're going to drop dead, or your kids are going to get it, or somebody. And so put something in there for future generations to scratch their head about and go, what's up with that person? Huh? Try not to make it anything like Serial Killer, though. That may not go well. So, yeah. Born in the USA. It was okay. I mean, I did not mind it when it came out, but I like it much better now. Much better now. I do enjoy it more. So glad to get that back in. I just couldn't find it. It should be super easy to find. $10 for that. Oh. The final one. And this is a Radio Wasteland. Marshall Tucker Band. And this is the Marshall Tucker Band. Well, okay, the Marshall Tucker Band and the Marshall Tucker Band. It is a self-titled album. My first Marshall Tucker Band was the album that had Heard It in a Love Song. And I really liked that song. But this one had Can't You See? And I remember I was trying to find the album that had that. And I was buying a bunch of Marshall Tucker bands, and I could not pick up this one for the life of me in the first collection. It's like every other thing. I never had this. I wanted to see Can't You See? Marshall Tucker Band's greatest hits would have been the smart thing to do, by far. But I'm not always very smart, so I got this. But I do like the rest of the album. Is it one I would play all the time? No. Can't You See by the Marshall Tucker Band? Excellent song. Just top-notch. I went for that country rock that was so big during the 70s that I never really got into it that much. It was okay. You know, I was not a huge Eagles fan or anything like that. But again, Marshall Tucker Band, one of my early albums that I bought. So yeah, this was neat to get. I've enjoyed it. So nothing wrong with having that back in. So that's what we brought back in the collection. Some more great stuff to put in these bins that seem to be filling up. And actually, I've been spending time pulling stuff, deciding what I need to purge, and pulling things out that I don't think I'm going to listen to anymore, or making decisions. So it's a hard process. It's not the most enjoyable thing in the world, but I do need to make decisions. So thanks for dropping by and hanging out with me. Drop by on Sunday. Don't forget our podcast. We, with Jim Gleason and myself, two guys talking about records on Spotify, on iHeart, on Podbean, and on the Radio Wasteland YouTube channel. You can find it. Appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. Bye.